Welcome back, everybody. Derrick Sue, your East Oakland advocate. Well, this is just a follow-up video of 36 hours later after the attacks and beatings that I and my staff had taken from the business takeover, and we were held at gunpoint. So, false imprisonment is one of the possible charges that would be uh, levied upon those that if they catch them in the future. But thus far, we've been dealing with our injuries along with the damages, especially to doors, frames, and everything here, and resecuring stuff. And a lot of you said, "Well, how'd you set off the silent alarm?" I didn't. That's the reason why we have somebody always minding the ponds, and also while minding the ponds, you're kind of keeping an eye out on the monitors, and that sound an alarm to the person working in the secured area. So anyway, the person in the secured area was tipped off and saw on the monitors what was going on, called 911, and also let 911 uh, know that it was an armed robbery, because she saw the weapons in the monitors, and was able to talk to police and staff uh, about everything that was going on. So uh, still disappointing, the response time of 40 minutes. But during that time, um, we're still documenting and getting the video that of the beatings and things that went on. So that's something that I'm going to post in the future of the attack here to show you what transpired, and also you see the swelling on my cheeks. So those are things that I'm going to talk about today. You know, our injuries, what we're dealing with. Probably the person who sustained the most injuries was the person who caused this invasion to begin with, by not setting the locks and not being vigilant as to protocol around here, especially living in this area. And this person knew better. So that's one of the things. And he received probably the most severe beatings. He's also younger, a younger person, uh, but he also, this was a case that during our being beaten and interrogated by the robbers, uh, some questions came up that made things very interesting, and led me to believe that this was a case of loose lips sinking ships. And because this person specifically said that he was in the neighborhood talking about something specifically uh, that he had of significant interest. So that's what drew some of these people in, and because they were asking for this specific item when they were in here, and they asked me about it. I don't know a fucking thing about that. And so I'm the homeless guy. I don't know shit around here. So that's the what I maintained. And also, the other thing, it brought down the level of violence from them, because I was an older person. They saw my colostrophy bag, so they said, "What? You're a cancer victim?" I said, "Yes." And I said, "Oh man, sorry, dude." And then, things lightened up. It could have been, I could have been beaten like the younger worker, but there was one who was significantly violent, and I say that because while they had my hands tied, he started kicking me, and we have that on camera. And he was kicking me in my kidneys and ribs, and he was doing a significant kicks. So right here, this whole area is still numb because he fractured the bones in my hand, and so the hand is numb. Plus uh, the way that they had us tied with the zip ties, instead of having one big loop, they did it like how police do it, which makes it much more difficult to break free, where you interloop two zip ties and then put one zip tie on each wrist. That makes it much more difficult. So that made it much more difficult for me, especially with my hands behind my back. However, that technique does not work to feet and legs, because soon as Oakland police announced that they were around the perimeter and everybody took off, I was able to break free of my leg restraints without any significant difficulty, just by snapping my legs, right at the end of the stretch of the zip ties. And they had 3 zip ties, one on each ankle, and then one interconnecting each of those around my ankles. So like I said, I snapped through that real easily. And in the event that you are ever held hostage like that, just to let you know, in most cases, you have enough leg strength to break those zip ties around your ankles and at least get up and run. It may not be the same for your hands and wrists, due to, like I said, the way that it's leveraged differently, and you cannot get the leveraging twist that you need to break the plastic. But I was able to get to a knife and able to cut that zip tie very quickly. Once my legs were free, I got everybody into the building. We locked the cage. Then we put the security door, the double bolts on that, and made sure everybody was secured, safe, and then also freed everybody. And then I got messaging from outside the building from a trusted source who was working with OPD, and they relayed messages via text to me, so I knew I could trust those messages. So went out, dealt with the police. They verified I was one of the victims, got my identification, which I didn't have my ID, but I know all of my information, so that it's easy to give it to the police. But getting back to the injuries, probably the most serious injury and the most annoying is the road rash on my chest all the way down to my belt line from being dragged all over the building. So one of the most painful portions is after everybody's gone and you need to clean up. You're hurting already and stinging, but you need to clean up because you got to get that dirt out of there, all the dirt and whatever else that they may have dragged you through is now impregnated into and embedded into your skin and your body, and you need to get rid of that so that you don't cause any infections. And also you start the healing process. So just going through the shower is a painful ordeal. Believe me, it is a very painful ordeal. Just the water hitting you slightly warm. It is an eye-opener. It is a real eye-opener. So just be aware of that. If you've had motorcycle crashes or bicycle crashes, you know about road rash and how painful they are, and always you dread the cleanup portion. That's the first step of the cleanup portion, which is showering and cleaning, getting the bulk of the debris off of you and cleaning. And so that's probably one of the more painful portions before the actual cleaning, because after you do the actual cleaning, this is the best thing to really sterilize the area. You don't want to use alcohol because the alcohol is actually going to chemically burn the flesh. While this chemically cauterizes the flesh, it doesn't burn the flesh in the same way that alcohol does. And it cleans the surfaces, and you can actually see if from the showering that you did a sufficient job. If you don't have any foaming up of any areas, that's really good. Then the other thing that you want to do is to deal with the irritation from road rash. And one of the things that I had that I had not used yet, but I had it for other reasons, for bites and things like that. Eucerin, this works pretty good without having steroids in it. Or any other kind of medications. Uses a lot of aloe. Aloe is a good natural herbal type cure, but it isn't. It calms the nerve endings, but it doesn't really deal with the irritation on there. So what I have with that, but also it cleans, is this Bactine. Yeah, look at that, and it has lidocaine. Lidocaine is an actual uh, uh, chemical to deal with the irritated nerve endings, and so it's a painkiller. And it works very quickly and effectively. One of the nice things about having this versus this is a cream, and it's going to be painful applying it. And then once it's applied, it stays gooey for hours. And so when you're wearing a t-shirt like this, it's going to stick to you. It's uncomfortable. You don't have that with this. Spray it on, wait a couple of minutes, or even just lightly towel it down, and it is sufficient. When you spray it down, also this will foam up. That's one of the ingredients that I like about this Bactine, is that it's a hydrogen peroxide based cleaner, and also, like it says, pain relieving cleansing spray. So after a couple of minutes, it dries off, so shirts and things don't stick to you, which continues the irritation, but it actually allows the healing process to begin. So uh, I've been using this, and it's working. But just to show you some injuries from uh, 36 hours now. It's been just over 36 hours. You see the swelling on my face here, and you can see the yellowing of the bruising. So let me get this up close. You can really see that's where one of the kicks, where he kicked me with a shoed foot. So that's assault with a deadly weapon now. A shoed foot is considered a deadly weapon. Also, you see my hand, how swelled the knuckles are. Plus, there's no feeling here from being kicked by that one more aggressive person. Then one of from the bands, the zip ties, that's an actual cut from the zip tie. And then on this side, yeah, now you can see the band where it's cut me through in the wrist, and cuts in the flesh from the being held in the zip tie. And then also, once I had gotten my legs free and had gotten inside the building, and my workers into the building, and we secured the door, then I was able to cut free of my bindings, those plastic zip ties. So you can get free of them. You just have to have sufficient time so that you can break through these. In the case of the legs, that shouldn't take you much more than a nickel of time. And for your hands, that may be a different situation. But anyway, dealing with the injuries, that's been the biggest thing. We're currently working on the damage to everything, the resecuring the doors. And like I said, it was our fourth person, our graveyard person, who was in the pond areas monitoring the filtration systems and the testing going on. So she saw everything and then was able to set off the silent alarm. When the silent alarm people called, she was able to verify that they were armed and that she was in a secured room, but they were banging on the doors and trying to kick in the doors, which they couldn't. She had barricaded herself in there quite well. And then also, uh, she had her two dogs. And so when they came back and questioned me about that, I said, okay, she's in the secure room. And well, essentially, a panic room is what we call it. And I told the thieves, just dogs in there. You open that door, you're going to get the chewing of your life. And because the dogs were, the other dogs that we have on property, were sounding quite vicious, even though I know differently. But they stayed away from that door, and then they stopped kicking in and trying to enter there, knowing that there were at least 3 dogs on the other side of that door. So, but that was the only person who really wasn't injured in any way because she was in the panic room. And I myself, I knew that she had set off the silent alarm, also was most likely in contact with the monitoring company and OPD, which she was. I'm just disappointed that even though OPD showed up 40 minutes later, they didn't catch a single person. All 8 of the robbers got away because of Oakland's stupid do not pursue policy. Oakland has a do not pursue policy, which has been called into question by Governor Gavin Newsom, also being looked at by Attorney General Rob Bonta, and this goes against pursuit protocols, which endanger the community by not pursuing criminals when they clearly see them and have them in the neighborhood, rather than setting up a wider perimeter, to apprehend all 8. All 8 got away. So that's what's going on. That's what's happened. And that's what we're dealing with, these injuries right here. I'm not going to show you my stomach area. You saw that in the previous video. It's not a pretty sight. Now it's just really sore everywhere. A lot of scabbing going on, so you don't need to see all that. But yeah, thanks for all your well wishes from a lot of you. And then for those of you that have been in direct contact with me, yes, I am safe and a little shaken up, but not that bad, because I've had a lot worse situations, in counterterrorism. So this was just a mild situation for me. And one of the nice things, I'm going to do another video about hostage negotiations while you're one of the hostages. So I'm going to talk about that in the next video. Thanks for joining me. We'll be right back.